All right, you guys, we've got Jason Douglas in the Motus studio today, and he is actually going to be playing the voice of Beerus.
Beerus, God of Destruction.
That's awesome.
Yes.
For the new Dragon Ball Z movie, Battle of Gods.
That's right.
All right, so you've done Dragon Ball Z before in the past with the Kai.
Right. That was my introduction really to the DBZ franchise. You know, because I was actually back in Houston years ago when the original Dragon Ball Z content was being voiced and created and distributed. I've been up in North Texas now for about 5 years, and I've been working off and on with Chris Sabat and a lot of those guys from Funimation. And so when the DBZ Kai project came along, I was around, and I think I did King Cold in DBZ Kai. I don't recall how it came about, but I do recall coming in and Chris being like, "This is kind of a big deal," you know. So I was like, "Okay, all right." And then he explained the whole, you know, the big DBZ culture and how this was the first content in 17 years that anybody's seen that's brand new.
Being Beerus on Dragon Ball Z,
I just think he's a force of nature. I don't think he's certainly based on
like Egyptian.
He's got an Egyptian look. He's definitely based on cat, or possibly, I heard somebody say like a jackal because of the Egyptian god Anubis, but he's really not that. He's not Anubis. He's not, I don't think he's meant to be that. In fact, the creator based the idea of Beerus on his own cat. So he's indestructible. I mean, he is. I think of Beerus as a god. I don't know what that means to the show creators, but for me, that means like he is part of the fabric of the universe. He goes dark for a while, you know, like for periods of like 30, 40 years where he's like napping, and then he wakes up and he goes, has target practice with a couple of planets.
But to him, he's trying to restore the balance, and to him, he thinks that by destroying these, he's doing right.
Yeah, I think he's got. I think like any god, he has his sense of perfection, and so he's doing what he thinks is simply necessary. I don't think, and that's why I don't think with Beerus it's a question of is he good or is he evil? He just is. You know, he is the supernova. He is the black hole. Right.
So when you get to the studio, you're about to record this, and you know that you have to be very, very, very animated. Where do you go? What do you do to kind of place yourself as Beerus?
I just walk into the studio and I take a drink. I look at the, but you know, honestly, it's a good question, because so much of the character work I think is done by the animators. I mean, they spend that time kind of deciding, you know, what's the character's, why is he motivated to do this? What is the pacing that he lives his life? And we see that when we voice actors were watching. We see the scenes, at least when we're doing anime. This is different from prelay animation where you're creating voices on the fly and then they're animating later. So I'm taking my cues from what I see, and then I try to absorb kind of just a sense of who that character is, and then I just kind of start playing a little bit, and hopefully I hit on something and I think, oh yeah, that's right, that sounds like this guy. I see that he's very cat-like, and there's this kind of
chill.
Yeah, there's this softness and this chill, but there's also this danger at any minute. You know what I mean? And this brash kind of. He can get angry, and his anger isn't just a little, a little momentary thing. It's something that can destroy planets. So we have to have that range, you know.
This is from one of the fans, Scott Jordan, and he wants to know: is this kind of rock bottom from Beerus, or where does he kind of go from here? Your kind of personal thoughts.
I'm as curious as anybody is to know how Beerus is going to figure into the future sort of DBZ content, the universe. I would love to think that we're going to start to see more OVAs and maybe a series and stuff that Beerus would be a part of. I mean, I hear little things, nothing I can say for sure or confirm, because I'm not in control of that. I think we've been set up to see Beerus as part of a future DBZ universe. That's just my opinion. This is a big event for Beerus. I think he sees in Goku someone who is sort of worthy of his attention, worthy of consideration.
And he is.
Not at first, but he has to find that out. I mean, it's not clear from the beginning that, oh, Goku is this becoming this intergalactic badass, and I should pay attention. I think he has a sense that there's something out there, there's someone out there that might be a rival to me, and that excites him.
I can imagine.
And so,
someone with his...
see the movie and decide for yourself.
So this question is from David Sammy, and he wants to know, have you met Akira Toriyama in person?
I would love to. I don't know where to find him, but tell him to call me. For the most part, we don't cross paths with our seiyuu or the creators.
They're so far away.
That could happen certainly at a convention, and I think sometimes it does. I don't tend to do a lot of conventions.
That was my next question.
That's a good question.
I was just curious, have you done conventions in the past, and would there be any conventions that you would like to do around the US?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm always open to it. I did. I've done Atlanta, and I've done.
Is that Dragon Con?
That was Anime Weekend, Atlanta. And there was a convention called Ushicon that Brett Weaver was doing for a few years ago in Austin, and I did that. But I generally, I'm a very busy person, and I don't necessarily, I don't seek out those opportunities, but I'm open to them if they present themselves.
Come your way. Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. So one of my last questions for Dragon Ball Z would be, you are playing the new character that was brought to the Dragon Ball Z universe, and A, how did you feel about that? And B, how did the fans react, in your opinion, to this new character? Do they like him? Do they want to see more of him? Of course we do. And kind of your experiences with that.
Yeah, what I've seen and heard, people really like Beerus. He's unique and different. So I think he just adds a different wrinkle to the DBZ universe. But we'll see how it plays out. I mean, this, I think there are a lot of fans who maybe haven't seen this movie yet. So we'll see how they react to it. When
you first started with Dragon Ball, did you realize the fan base?
I kind of did.
You did?
Because I've got like my wife's younger brother, who is grown up now. It's like mid-late 20s. He grew up with DBZ, and so I knew from knowing him like what a big deal it was to his generation. And I'm not like real old or anything, but it just was like a generation behind me. So I didn't grow up with it.
Were you more like an Iron Man kind of dude?
Yeah,
Iron Man shirt there.
I was into like I was, as a kid growing up, I was into anything from like Bugs Bunny and Archie comics to like Superman and Spider-Man. I was huge into like the original like Superman movies, Christopher Reeve.
Did you scream a lot as a child?
Did I scream a lot?
I'm just curious.
Does it seem like I did? Why?
I feel like the whole Dragon Ball Z, series.
It like ramps you up. I'll tell you what I did do. So a few people know about this. I've talked about it before. But when I was a kid, my best friend Miguel Trujillo, hey dude, if you're out there, what's up? Miguel's the guy that introduced me to like rock and roll, like Kiss. He and I used to make these tapes. I had this like Radio Shack tape recorder, and we would like record us like creating like what we called them movies back then. Like, hey, let's make a movie. I always stick a little tape in. Actually, it was like kind of a radio drama, right? So, but that was what me and Miguel did. We did like, and I think the one thing that I remember, and I still have a tape somewhere, is it's us improvising a version of The Warriors.
Oh my God!
You know
come out and play, yay?
Yeah, okay. Warriors, come out and play. Yeah.
That's my jam.
That's right. And
what was your first step into like film and stuff? Was it a voice character?
I was out of college. I had been a theater guy, doing a lot of stage work, and at a certain point, I needed to make some money. Right, and the only way you make money is by getting jobs that pay you. And theater, while it paid a nice little, stipend, little gas money, that wasn't where the dollars were. And you just have to make a living. And I thought, well, these guys are going out on these local commercials and industrials, and I could do that. Eventually, I had an agent that was submitting me on film and television stuff.
That's awesome.
But at a certain point, I got submitted to a project that shot in Austin called Secondhand Lions, and that was the first feature film that I appeared in.
And is there anything else that you want any of the fans of the Dragon Ball Z universe to know about, or upcoming projects that you personally are working on?
If you're flying Virgin America anytime this summer, I'm in a film called Two Step. I'm really proud of this film. It's a Texas noir crime thriller. It premiered at South by Southwest. And then I've got another project coming up on, it'll be on Amazon streaming this fall, called Hysteria, created by none other than Sean Cassidy.
Well, thank you so much for coming to Motus Studios today and doing the interview for Samaze. Cool. We have some really cool, you know, Dragon Ball Z headpieces that you guys gave out, and we've got some that you and Chris have both signed, so we'll be giving those away, and we actually have some movie posters. We'll be giving the movie posters out, so just comment on the video. Let us know if you are going to go see the movie, and if you've already seen the movie, let us know what you thought about it.
It's okay if you think I sucked. It's okay. I will take those notes, and I will work it into my future work.
There you go. You're going to help him out.
Not really. Sorry, I'm not going to take notes, but thank you.
All right, well, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Awesome.